recitation session. So first of all, we'll pay our obeisances to the beautiful deities of ISKCON Shri Sheshadripuram Jagannath Mandir. Baldeva Prabhu ki jai, Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Lord Jagannath ki jai, Lord Gauratai ki jai, Panch Tattva ki jai, Guru Brahma ki jai, Lord Vamandev ki jai, Lord Parashurama ki jai. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Can we go to the next slide? Thanks. Yeah. So we will see our prayers. One second. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Destarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are in chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. And today we will be reading Shloka 4.1 of chapter 6. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam Srimatam gehe yoga drashto abhijayate. The translation. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. One second. Yeah. Sorry, Prabhu, I'm using somebody else's house. So a little difficult to fix the camera. Okay, so in this process of yoga process, the perfection is when one who has, we would say the one person who has achieved perfection is that he never, he has practiced Krishna consciousness. He has achieved perfection in that. That's the highest level of perfection, achievement. And that person, we can say, is successful, that after leaving his body in this birth, that person never comes back to this material world. So that is the actual perfection. He goes back to Godhead, to Goloka, Vaikuntha planet, and he never comes back. And he has practiced Krishna consciousness and he has achieved perfection. So that is perfection. But if somebody in this process, he is not able to, so even in this eightfold yoga system, Dhyana Yoga, the perfection would be that one practices, finally achieves a state where he says Krishna conscious, he takes to Krishna consciousness and he achieves perfection in that. So that is how it is. But if somebody is unsuccessful, so here it is said that that person, there's nothing is lost as such. Whatever he has endeavored, whatever he has done in spiritual life, that is not lost. He will take birth again. So first, there are two kinds of things here. According to this shloka, this person, this yogi who has failed, and one who is successful person goes back to Godhead, kingdom of Godhead. Unsuccessful persons, he will, because a person would be unsuccessful, a yogi would be unsuccessful, because when he is trying to practice spiritual life, if he also has some material desires related to sense gratification, material sense gratification, So because of that, he doesn't achieve success. So what Lord does is, because he knows everybody's desires, all the person is endeavored in spiritual life, so he's allowed to fulfill his desires, whatever other material desires are. So once he is exhausted, once he reaches a stage that, oh, he no longer has material desires, he can swiftly practice um, spiritual life. Krishna achieve perfection in spiritual life. So for that, what happens is, he he takes birth. He's allowed to take birth, but he takes birth in a very higher elevated. For initially, he will go to higher planets, where he is allowed to fulfill his sense gratification, material desires. And because in higher planets, heavenly planets, a person can enjoy to a very higher level of sense gratification, because the facilities they have, the body they have, it makes it gives such an arrangement that one can fulfill all his desires. So in higher planetary systems, people are very beautiful, they have very long life. um, they have so much riches, wealth, that they don't have to struggle like us, the way we do here. They have good knowledge, so all those things. So once they do that, once they have exhausted all this, once they have done their sense gratification, they will have to come they will have to come back to this earthly planet and take birth. And when they take birth by the because they had endeavored initially in spiritual life, but they were unsuccessful. So what happens is, they take birth in two kinds of families. So that is what is mentioned here. So one is Shuchinam, another is Srimatam. So yeah, in heavenly planets, they'll have to leave because they have exhausted all the previous karma, or large amounts of karma, pious activities. They did that, so they fulfill their desires. And because of that, they'll have to leave that heavenly planet, come back to earth, take birth in one of the two families. That is two kinds of families. One is aristocratic family, rich mercantile family. Another is a family of very pious, righteous people. So in India, we know such a system. Um, uh, in India, we know such a system. So Srimatam means a very, very rich family, aristocratic family, mercantile family, and pious, righteous family. We know Brahmanas. We have this Varna Ashrama system in India. So they take birth in a Brahmana family. Um, so like that. So there are two categories of families. They'll take birth because of their previous endeavors in spiritual life, in the yoga system. And so what is the benefit of such a taking birth in such a family? One, so if somebody takes birth in a rich mercantile family, um, they don't have to endeavor for their daily bread and butter. They can, because they are very rich aristocratic family. For example, we know a system here, Kshatriya system, Vaishya system, and we know many families across the world. So Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Rockefeller in US, and Ford, um, very rich business. And we know Ambarisha Prabhu, who's from Ford family, because so the benefit is that because they can now swiftly, very easily take to spiritual life, where so they wherever they left it, they can take progress from exactly from there. So all that what they endeavored in the past life, in spiritual life, all the spiritual endeavors they made, they start from where they left. So it doesn't go back to zero. So yeah, so that is Srimatam, very rich aristocratic family. um, so when somebody takes so we know that now if somebody takes birth in a very rich aristocratic family, we should understand that in his previous life he did some pious work, and because of that he's getting facilities in this life to progress in spiritual life. And Srila Prabhupada talks about four kinds of facilities: um, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. So Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. So Janma means get birth in a very aristocratic family, royal family, a rich family. So one has large extents of wealth. So when they see their parents, who in India or anywhere else, if they are spiritual and but they are very wealthy aristocratic family, they also like to serve in such spiritual endeavors. For example, many would donate for the temple, many would donate for crop protection or sadhu seva, and so, and many of them are part of temple association. So if we see in today in ISKCON also, there are many people who come from a very wealthy family, and they would donate large amounts of wealth and or participate themselves in such endeavors. So for example, another family, one of the families Srila Prabhupada talks about is Ford family and Birla family, and we know that Amrisha Prabhu is part of ISKCON, and he and his family has contributed so much. So and they're very spiritual. And the Birla family also, we have seen that they have constructed many temples, and there are so many other families who make such donations for such spiritual endeavors. Um, so, and they're part of all this, and the children take to the spiritual life very easily, because when they see their parents doing these things, they automatically take to that. So this is not by chance they are doing this or getting this. It's because of we understand that Lord Krishna talks about a system, and Krishna promises that that their spiritual endeavors is not lost, and they will take birth in such families, and where it is very easy for them to take to spiritual life. And also parents of such children, we see that they make donations or in the name of their children, like they easily get them, not only get association of other children who are from the spiritual families, and they make donations in the name of their children, so that their children get benefits. They progress in spiritual life, because that is the good intention of the parents. So they get all that, and when they see that their parents did that, they are spending time in temple every Sunday, or whenever there is such a spiritual endeavor or such an occasion which calls for participation. Their children also, when they grow up, they take to such activities throughout their life, and even they bring their children in such a way that they take to spiritual life. So it's very easy for them. They don't have to be taught or explained, or they see their parents doing this, and they take to such activities. So this is how they get blessed. And another is Brahmana families. So that is Suchinam pious family. So we see that Brahmanas are very well cultured, and they're very pure in habits, very clean. And again, they see their parents and their family members do such a thing, and they take to this without um, any doubt. They take to such a thing. So cleanliness, and so for somebody who is in a very staunch Brahmana family, they would have practiced the four regulative principles by birth. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. So they very easily take to this. They don't have to be explained at a later stage why. So they understand all this. So, and they're practicing spiritual. They're reading scriptures from day one. They hear their parents. They see their family members participate in all this. So they learn the shlokas and the mantras from the very beginning. They're very well versed in scriptures, and very good memory, and so and so. So these are the benefits. Some of them, they're very well cultured, and people look forward to them to when it comes to taking advice. And we've also heard that birds of same feather flock together. So when parents take their children for such spiritual occasions, even in ISKCON we see that they get to associate with other young children who come from such a family, and there is a mutual exchange. So they don't have bad habits which others would have it. So from the very beginning, so all these things are ingrained in them from the very beginning. It doesn't get They don't have to be changed. They don't have to struggle. So they pick all these things very easily. They have interest in scriptures, uh, both when you're born in a very rich family, because you don't struggle for bread and butter, and we can progress in spiritual life very easily. We have so many people in this con who are doing this. Even we have this so many systems in across the globe now. as part of ISKCON's endeavors, and so many initiatives. And people take to one or other initiatives to their liking. Somebody takes to crop protection, somebody takes to devotee care or deity care, deity service, and so many things. So many facilities for progression in spiritual life are given as part of being part of ISKCON also. Um, so yeah, so this is a norm. They don't have to be chained. So they see their parents doing it, the other family members doing it. So children when they grow up, they take to this things, and they are very well versed in scriptures. There's so many children who know scriptures by heart, or at least Bhagavad Gita or so many other Krishna Leela book. So many things they have heard from their parents or when they have gone to temple. So they know all these things from the very beginning. Else, if somebody takes to this at a later life, and he's not he's not able to achieve success in this life, he or she gets an opportunity in next life to take birth again in a rich family, or mercantile family, aristocratic family, business family, and so, or a Brahmana family, or some yeah, some are very rich Brahmanas also. So, but the thing is, they by Krishna's will, by Krishna's system, they take birth again, and they are able to progress in spiritual life, and their children take to such spiritual life very easily. So this is the benefit uh, of previous endeavors. And although one might be unsuccessful, but nothing is lost. So this is the message what Lord Krishna is trying to give to Arjuna, explaining to Arjuna. So Hare Krishna, thanks for joining the morning chanting session and shloka recitation session. We will continue our shloka recitation again tomorrow. Please join us. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.